Welcome, grade 7. How are you? Today, we are going to continue about respiration and to see the mechanisms of gas exchange. What is the meaning of gas exchange? Exchange CO2 for O2, which means that we take out CO2 and we replace it by oxygen. Need respiratory surface. The characteristics of this surface should be needs to be thin for diffusion, needs to be moist for diffusion, and needs to be in contact with gas. Look at the gas exchange in the protists, which are the unicellular. A protist exchanges gas directly with external or environmental medium. It takes simply oxygen and gives carbon dioxide. Respiratory surface is the cell membrane. What drives the diffusion for it? Gas exchange in Hydra, diffusion through cell membranes, respiratory surface. Another example to exchange gas. In case of worm, look at the worm, which is moist. Worms live in moist soil. Oxygen from air goes into soil. Thin mucus-coated skins is their respiratory surface. Gas exchange across the skin. If skin dries, they suffocate. Worms can also draw in water, low O2 levels in water compared to air. But how do the gases get transported to the center of the worm? Need a transport system, need vessels, need blood with oxygen carrying molecules, a respiratory pigment, example hemoglobin. 100 milliliter of water can carry 0.2 milliliter of O2. 100 milliliter of blood can carry 20.0 milliliter of oxygen. Gas exchange in grasshopper. Look at the grasshopper. We see previously the spiracles. These are the spiracles. Okay. 5 pairs of opening allow O2 in and CO2 out. This is the tracheal tubes, and this is the opening of spiracle. Gas exchange in case of grasshopper, tracheal tubes branch through body. They end with a moist, thin membrane that butts up again body cells, respiratory surface. Body movements allow for air to come in and out of tracheal system. No hemoglobin in the blood, and the blood not used for gas transport. In case of gills, layers of tissue rich in blood, large surface area, O2 gas is dissolved in H2O. H2O with oxygen gas washes over gills. Exchange gas need constant flow of water over gills or they suffocate. Gills covered by operculum flap. This is what we are talking about. This is the current of water rich in oxygen. It becomes low in oxygen when it exchanges gas with the fish gill. Gas exchange in human respiratory surface, which is the lungs. A lung is a sac that contains many other sacs, smaller, which are called alveoli. Bronchi, parts of respiratory system, but not part of lungs. Air. Let's compare the air, the composition of air between inhaled and exhaled air. Inhaled air, what we breathe in. This is the composition. The amount of oxygen is 20 0.9%, and that of CO2 is 0.04, while nitrogen is 79%. In exhaled air, breathe out, the amount of nitrogen is still the same. The amount of oxygen is 60.3, which means it decreases, and that of carbon dioxide increases from 0.04 to 4.5. Water exists in both gas, in inhaled and exhaled gas. Look at the alveoli. This is the smaller sac in the lung. The air comes in and out. This is the surface of exchange, which should be small and thin, which should be large and thin, and in contact with a blood vessel. Like a cluster of graphs, 300 million alveoli, 70 square meters surface area, walls of air sac are 1 cell thick, site of gas exchange. Look at the lung model. This is a model for lungs. This is the end of our video today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Goodbye.